now quickly for those watching at home, we're getting a message from our sponsors.
That we are.
I gotta watch the Game Ranger ad. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta watch it too. Oh, look what we got. We have Galiprant.
What? Oh,
Something for your energetic dog. Oh,
but you don't have an energetic
osteoarthritis.
dog. I have an energetic dog.
No, I don't. I mixed this up.
Would you like my energetic dog from March 12th through March 14th?
What's March 12th? Is
I
this a
have
new
to go to
thing?
Indiana to watch a basketball tournament, which, yeah, I know.
I can watch your dog if you need
Yeah.
to.
Well, it,
Easy.
it's
Or
not it's not
go
an
to your
issue of
house.
watching the dog because it's not a cat. It needs to like live with you for 3 days. I kind of have Tyler doing it, but I figured I'd throw it to you just in case Tyler's not able to. So
Yeah, I probably could.
I'd be a
I'll have
little
to
worried about your
see.
cats is the
Yeah,
only thing. Okay.
we can figure that out later, though.
For those of you watching at home, welcome to the stream. I am Rossi Ruckus. This is my Buckaroo buddy boy Dave, and we are going to be invading Holland together tonight. We had previously done a rather extensive grand campaign of Close Combat Last Stand Arnhem. There was an issue with some of the video files. We ended up only getting recordings of like the first 3 sessions, but we played it up through I think September 20th, and the campaign ends on the 24th. So we got a good way through it. Um,
Did you start the game yet?
yeah, I'm in Last Stand Arnhem. Are you not in the
Yeah.
game?
No, it's waiting for a host.
Oh, I haven't actually hosted a game yet, so give me a second here.
But
We're
if
gonna
it's already
do.
started, it should. Oh, no, it launched me in.
Just got you. It waits for me to do internet UDP.
Hang on for technical difficulties, viewers.
I don't have any technical difficulties. You have fucking technical
You've created
difficulties.
them on my stream, so thank
Yeah.
you.
Well. Oh, are you streaming as well, Dave?
I am streaming as well. This is
Well.
will be
Well.
the first
Well. Well.
stream for Chekhov's laser gun,
Chekhov's.
aka Dave, aka Herman Boring, General Herman Boring, commanding the Germans in Holland.
Let your inner Nazi out. I'm gonna give you
Welcome,
my IP
General.
address. Write this down and don't forget
Yes,
it.
I do need your IP address, but fortunately,
Yeah.
yeah, just give me that IP address.
It's gonna be 68.190.113.133.
Yep. Yep. Hackers, now's the time to go.
There you go. They're in my mainframe. I play World War II games, Dave. I don't know how computers work. Come on.
Let the youngins deal with that.
There's Zoomers in my bank account now. We're fucked. It's done.
And I see a game here, and it's General Ruckus
All right, let's do
versus
grand campaign.
Herman Boring. Now
You don't want to
switch.
warm up. You want to do. I'll play as the allies. I'll do it. So realism rating. We're gonna have full realism on. We are doing force morale. Gets too low as a battle ending condition. I'm gonna move this up to 20 minutes, or after taking all victory locations with a 2-minute warning. We are both gonna start with line force strength. I think is that what we did last time?
That is what we did. I think it's pretty standard.
Yeah, because I mean, you fuck with it if you're playing against the computer, but I'm not playing against the computer. It would be interesting if we do this again to bump the allies down to green, because I do think this scenario is weirdly biased against them, despite the fact that historically they lost. So I'm gonna hit next. We're gonna call this ZZ.
It still shows that you are the ally. Oh wait, yeah, no, it still shows me as the allies. Did you change that?
Yeah, give me a second here. We'll see. ZZ GC turn 01 Feb 25. Okay, now it should show me as. Yep. Ready and.
Looks good.
Hunter 2, I'm in.
We are in. So for those watching, this is the second run between Ross and I of the Market Garden campaign. We are taking a switch of roles here, so I will be commanding the Germans, as I mentioned, and Ross will be commanding the Allies now. So we will have a bit of a swap in terms of our previous gameplay for those viewers who have seen it, of our large streaming audience. Um, so the goal of the Germans in this campaign, for those new to Market Garden, is that the Germans want to stop the Allies from advancing all the way up here through Holland and breaking through to Germany across the various rivers that are stretched across this map. Um, you'll see some big name cities here like Arnhem and Nijmegen,
Dave, I don't know
and
where to point the camera. Fuck. All right.
uh, those are going to be some very hot focal points for this campaign. So Ross, I believe you will be making the first move here,
Yep,
but
I will.
we're gonna have some interesting gameplay for you today.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We're gonna have some interesting gameplay here. Market Garden, high risk, high reward.
High risk, high
Let's
reward.
end the war by Christmas in
Lots of bridges.
1944. This was the brainchild of General Montgomery, uh, uh, Britain's greatest strategist in World War II. And fundamentally, Market Garden is actually a good plan. The idea is that nobody expected the Allies to necessarily attack through Holland into Germany because there was just too many bridges. And you can blow up the bridges, you can slow them down, you can pivot your defenses, and then suddenly you can't really attack through Holland anymore. The idea was this massive airborne operation that would simultaneously capture like 15 bridges across this country and would allow this giant armored push to just like break into uh, the mainland of Germany. It's built around 3 cities. Dave and I played it before, and after I think we got to the 21st, September 21st, now that I'm actually looking at the board, we were on track for a roughly historical resolution, which is where the Germans got their asses kicked for the first few days, but then were able to kind of hold on to Arnhem and prevent a total Allied breakthrough. Uh, this scenario was really hard, I think, to get in any way other than having a total like historical ending.
Yeah.
Like I think this time we're trying to go for something other than a historical ending. I
So
just don't know how that's gonna
Ross is
work.
going to be trying to break the game here and beat the Allies' historical record of getting stuck in the middle of Holland and being unable to proceed. Um, the game makes it very hard to do this. There's a lot of bottlenecks, but with some mm, careful timing and good strategy and maybe a little, cheese here and there, yeah, the player may be able to um, beat the historical average that the Allies happen to end up at the end. So we're going to have a very interesting stream. We've both played the game before, and we kind of understand the mechanics better. There have been a lot of trial runs on the side, so I think everyone's trying to beat the
Yeah,
game
we're
here.
gonna see some real
This is going to
counter
be
meta shit. It's
this is
gonna
going to
be
be very
great.
counter meta, and I think it's going to be excellent emergent gameplay.
Well said, Dave. All right. Well, now that everyone has lost interest in watching us play, we're actually so Close Combat. If you've never seen it before, is actually a RTS game, but we're on the strategic map right now, and we need to move some forces around. So I've got roughly 3 sectors I'm worried about. The first is Eindhoven, which is going to be like all of these green guys here are American paratroopers. You can kind of see down here, I've got like rifle teams and machine gun teams. So all of these forces represent battle groups of airborne infantry. So down here is the 101st Airborne, who are like the guys from Band of Brothers. Uh, and their goals are to take these bridges because I'm just going to endlessly get armored reinforcements coming through Valkenswaard. So if I click forward in time, you can see I just continue to get these tank regiments coming up. The Irish Guards were, of course, the first members of 30 Corps into Eindhoven. But I got to hold these bridges so the tanks can just punch on through, get into Nijmegen, where the 82nd Airborne has just landed, and is now engaging a lot of these like kind of low-quality German garrison units. So when you see all these little circles that say BO, they're in a little oval. Those are like the German bridge guards. A lot of these are actually going to be Dutch citizens that have been pressed into service, or like police officers. They're just very low quality troops. Very small numbers of them going up against really, really powerful airborne battle groups. And then up in the north here near the city of Arnhem, we have the British Airborne, which is going to be the first airborne regiment. Historically, one of the things that made this such a difficult campaign was that the British decided to land somewhat far from Arnhem Bridge, and they also couldn't land all their troops in the same day. So historically, the British stayed in their landing zones and waited a day for the second wave to come, which is often seen as one of the reasons why the campaign in the north failed. So I'm going to start my moves here. Uh, Irish Guards are going to attack Vulcan Swan. Nothing we can do here. But up on the bridges, we've got some interesting choices. I've got two garrison units here, both of which are going to be really challenging because if you see these little icons here, that means that that's a bridge that's been mined. So Dave can blow the bridge up if I don't take it quickly enough. So
Many of these scenarios are basically set up to start for the game. So you have no choice but to fight on a lot of these bridge maps to represent that the Allies have landed and basically snuck up on the German defenders by surprise, usually very small groups. So it's going to be a challenge for me as the German player, the damn Nazis, to hold the bridges against the Allies with much stronger forces here, as Ross alluded to, and we're gonna have a real fight on some of these maps because it can either be a meat grinder for the Allies, or the Germans can kind of get swept very quickly. And I think we're gonna see an interesting mix of both. I'm hoping here. So at least that's my hope as the German player. So let's proceed without further ado. I have all my moves set in. Do you have more moves to make?
yeah, I'm still actually looking at Nijmegen right now. I'm trying to remember. I think the okay. So if you move two battle groups into the same hex at the same time, I think the red battle group is the battle group that ends up on top, and the blue battle group is the reinforcing battle group. Because if you
I
remember
believe
the
that is
order, yeah, the
correct.
order that you move them in matters.
Yeah, and I believe you can swap them too by right clicking. If there's
Yeah.
two on the same board, that one can become the primary.
So I'm gonna hit caps lock real quick so I can talk to the audience, but not have you hear my strategizing.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Dave, let me know if you can still hear me because I turned off my sound effect. So, my moves in Eindhoven are pretty straightforward. I don't have a lot of choices here. But what I am going to do, like, so my units kind of landed on what they're going to attack. What I am going to do is instead of taking Vagel Bridge, or sorry, Best Bridge, I am going to abandon this attack and then pull back to Soane Heath so I can move this unit north. Best Bridge is impossible to take. We've done some time trials in the off season since we last did a game, and even if the Germans don't put any defenders on Best Bridge, the Allied infantry physically cannot move there in time to take the bridge. So what we're going to try to do is instead of burning down the bridge timer on the first turn, we're going to try to take Best Bridge by rolling up into it with the Irish Guards and taking the bridge with tanks from the south. Um, what that may or may not work. I actually need to ask Dave something. Dave, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, bud.
Excellent.
I want to remember something about how something works. Bridges. If we
Yeah.
never fight on a bridge map, like let's
hmm
say I don't attack it, uh, do you later get the timer set to 0?
I seem to remember that this happens, yes. So I
Mm,
think you have a limited window of time while it's kind of assumed that the Germans are caught with their pants down and you're sneaking up on them literally at the time that they're like trying to wire up the bridges. And
sure.
after that first fight, the timers are usually 0. And I think there might be a few exceptions to that. I think one of them is Nijmegen Bridge, where the timer doesn't start there because there's no unit there to actually prime the bridge. So the initial engagement, and I don't remember exactly if there's a possible fight on the first turn, but there's no explosive tied to the bridge you can see on the map. So
I'm just wondering
that
if
may be
I
the one exception.
I'm wondering if I don't attack a bridge right away, if when I attack it later, you'll just start the match with it at timer 0.
I think I would assume so for the sake of decision making.
Because, okay, let me just tell you what I want to do. On Best Bridge, I want to move my airborne away from Best,
Where's Best Bridge?
Eindhoven, all the way at the south. And then try to hit it from the south with tanks.
Yeah, I thought about that actually.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. eh, I think that's one of the things we figured out in the first campaign is I think we had some ideas that you could do that, and I don't think the game wants you to do that.
Okay.
But
Well, we'll keep it
I
historical
could be
then.
wrong. So
I felt clever, but we'll keep it historical.
it was actually a thought of mine as well. But you may have a chance to do that later.
Yeah, I think you're gonna blow Best Bridge up, but that's okay. I don't think I actually need Best Bridge that badly.
That's why there's two bridges there, and
Yeah.
you'll have a decent chance on at least one of the two. But who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who the fuck knows, Dave?
Who the fuck
You
knows?
son of a bitch.
Only history.
Only history. All right, I've got my moves made.
I do too. I don't have very many to make, so I think we hit execute.
Give me a second here. I still have to do mine
Okay. Do you want to
in.
save before we hit execute?
I do actually want to save before we hit execute because I want to make sure that this is going to happen the way I thought it was. So, I'm trying to remember what the timer on the Arnhem Rail Bridge is. I think it's really short. It's like a 3-minute timer. It's another one of those timers where it's actually impossible to get there.
Actually, I'm not sure. I think you can capture Arnhem Rail
I
Bridge.
think the other thing is that you can't get to Arnhem Road Bridge from Arnhem Rail Bridge.
No, you're right.
You should be able to, but for whatever reason.
If you hit space, you can see the various
Oh,
exit
wow, did we
arrows.
know that last time?
We figured that out at the very end.
Holy shit, that's so useful. Um,
Yeah.
excuse me while I fucking. Holy fuck! All right, this changes everything. I'm having that weird glitch where like I think my mouse clicking is keeping me from holding it down, so like I can only see it for a second. So I have
hmm
to like smash spacebar to make it work.
Are, is your like map screen full screen or is it like kind of windowed or like shrunk?
It's kind of windowed.
So is mine. I think that it happens on the strategic map.
Look, when I upload this to YouTube, we'll just timestamp when the actual first fighting starts. So if anyone
All
doesn't
right.
want to listen to us banter, we can fucking.
Well, whenever you're ready, hit save.
Yeah, I'm just still trying to figure out what I want to do here.
Yeah, you have more moves to make than I do, so.
So, yeah, we'll do this. Um, hmm.
And just be aware, of course, if you move a battle group into another zone that a battle group's in already, that one takes the priority.
Yeah, that's the thing about the. Yeah, okay, so I can. Yeah, so my plan with the airborne, I was telling you I was thinking about it here. I've got a plan for the airborne. Um, hmm. Yeah, I think you have a battle group that can get into Arnhem Road Bridge on like the first turn. So, and that should be KG Spindler. Yeah, you can get in there on turn 1.
Okay.
So,
So I have to take a phone call in about 30 to 40 minutes.
is that for
I'm going to
work?
suggest, no, but I'm going to suggest we do the first 3 maps and then save, and maybe we can um, kill the stream for a little bit,
Okay.
and then we can either come back to it after that, or
Yeah, yeah.
we'll just talk after that.
Just trying to figure out if I can get onto Gankum Heath here. All right. Well, we are going to be making some bold moves here, Dave, that I can promise you. Uh, hmm. Okay. Yeah, I don't know how smart these moves are.
Okay.
I still have to allocate some
Yeah.
support. But yeah. Huh. Yeah, you guys are gonna need support. You guys are gonna need support. And then I think, yeah, this is a fucking kill box. So we'll give you guys some air support. Okay, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm gonna save this as ZZ Market Garden.
I don't
Uh,
think you have much to worry about, and I think you know that having played this game. But
I mean, here's the thing, Dave. Like, it is a lot easier to play as the allies, but the margin for error is so low. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
that is true.
yeah, fuck it. We'll throw that on there. I'm gonna execute.
All right, I'm gonna execute.
Okay. I mean,
All right.
no surprises here. Uh, things are where you would expect them to be.
Yep. So we have an enemy movement towards the Ravenstein Bridge, as expected. We've got paratroopers moving towards the bridges by Nijmegen, south of Nijmegen, the human bridge. We have several airborne units moving around in Arnhem sector. That's to be expected. They are moving in on the city. So we're going to have a city fight here soon. Apart from that, we've got a few allied units moving in towards Nijmegen proper. So we're setting up for more or less the same moves we had in the first campaign, and this will be, we're going to have our first battles down at the very, very south of the map, just south of Eindhoven city itself. That was the first target during the historical campaign, and it will be the Irish Guards against Bodenstagen Einheit. Sorry for all you Germans
Einheit. Yeah, we don't speak German, guys. Sorry. Um,
Nine.
you know, some comp group that history doesn't remember.
Edmund Boring doesn't care.
So generally speaking, the battles in this game resolve from south to north, roughly. So I'm gonna hit next, and we'll see that we have the battle here in Valkenswan and the Irish Guards. If we both hit next again, you'll see my force. The Irish
this
Guards.
Is the force I have. As you can see, it's more or less predetermined here. So
this is a very narrow map and a very tall map. Dave doesn't have nearly as many forces as I do, and he has a much more limited selection. I think he has at least one AT gun and probably a medium tank killer.
Yeah. So we've had a few gentlemen's rules set out. We're not going to go over them right now, but one of them is that we have decided to disclose to the other player if we have any armor in our group. So I will disclose at this time that I do have some armor in this group, a small number, and I believe I know already that Ross has the same. So
yeah, I've got a full squadron of tanks in this group.
There'll be some tank-on-tank fighting potentially in this scenario. So
yeah, so we don't generally let each other know what we have, but I guess we do generally let each other know what we have, but we don't explicitly say like I have exactly this. But I will tell Dave, like, hey, this is the type of group that this is.
And this is pretty historical because in World War II, the first thing units would usually hear tanks long before they actually engage them because they were extremely loud and generally very slow. So they'd hear engine idling. So this is kind of just to let the other player know what they're up against before they have
Right.
to select their battle group.
Because it's, and we're assuming both sides have some level of military
Yep.
intelligence on each other. There's aerial reconnaissance, there's, some level of espionage or whatever that's going on. It's not a surprise to Dave that tanks are coming, and I'm expecting some level of anti-tank presence. So this is the force I'm choosing. Pretty standard, not a lot of innovation I can do with this group. Just to explain to anyone who's never played this version of close combat before, I have so many requisition points and so many slots in my battle group that I can put things in. As you can see here, I've gone for mostly infantry. I'm actually compelled to take vehicles in this group um, because I have to. Uh, but I want infantry because I'm going to be attacking across a very large map. So I'm going to hit next, and we're in. It only took us 40 minutes to.
It only took us 40 minutes. But hey, now you can finally see close combat in all of its beautiful
Yeah.
glory.
So I actually think
Um,
this game looks really nice for
it
its.
is a beautiful game.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has some mechanics that are a little bit difficult to
Yeah.
wrap your head around, and reading the map is probably the biggest challenge to learning this game. So
Okay. So I know Dave's got some AT capability, but time is also of the essence. My goal is to clear this board as rapidly as I can. I need to get uh, as much ground as I can in a single day. And the problem with this board is that Dave has a lot of opportunity to basically just kind of keep pulling back and waiting me out. And it can create this kind of not so ideal situation where I just lose a lot of time here. Because realistically, it's going to take me 2 turns to get off this board, but it's going to be pretty bad news bears if it takes me 3. So,
so during this phase, we'll be placing all of our units, and there are a lot of stances we'll have to choose from. You'll probably get familiar with them throughout the series if you aren't already, but generally you can place units defensively. You can place them to only fire in an ambush setting, or you can put them out in the open, just like nobody's business. So
so you'll probably see I'm being pretty cavalier with my tanks here. I have a lot of tanks to burn in this battle group. Dave can kill all of these tanks, and it doesn't matter as long as I get off this board quickly. So, in a lot of cases, as the attacker, I just don't have that complicated of a deployment. I'm going to have 2 infantry platoons, one on this side of the road, one on the other, and I'm going to have a bunch of tanks stacked up ready to punch down the road, right? Um, I don't have a plan because I don't know what Dave's defense looks like. I'm expecting he's going to have machine guns in at least one location where he's got good visibility. He'll have infantry squads, places where he thinks he can ambush my tanks. We just got to move, 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 and losses are acceptable. So Dave thinks that's funny because for him losses are not acceptable. The Germans do not have a lot of forces in this scenario at all. Uh,
yeah, we're in a bit of a rough situation here, but
it's one of the reasons why I almost feel like it's more interesting to stream the German side of the campaign because it's so defensive. I guess I'll get that with the airborne in the north, but like you have like the German side of this, despite the fact that they won, is so desperate because you get like 2 machine gun teams, a command squad, and a couple groups of like ad hoc riflemen, and you have to defend against like a fucking division of oncoming allied troops with just like a couple machine gun positions. It's so pure, but it's also so brutal. Whereas the allied approach to this is just like we have to attack, losses are acceptable, let's go. And
yeah,
but if Dave loses a machine gun team, that's devastating for him because he might only have 1 or 2 per battle group. And that said, in close combat, like a single machine gun team, if I don't deal with it, could kill all of these infantry, like no problem. Uh, Support weapons are really really strong, which is fairly historical. So
okay. So I am ready to begin.
yeah, I'm ready to.
Let's go.
Sir, the FOB reports barrage available.
So we'll have a few moments of calm before the storm, and then we'll see the first enemy units probably cresting these embankments here, trying to storm my position.
So tanks cannot spot for shit.
Jerry, take cover.
Area secured. Redeployed.
In position.
Move completed.
Dave is actually doing something really shrewd right now. Which is that he's trying to mobility kill my Sherman on the bridge, which will jam up all the other Shermans behind it.
In position.
So I had to.
Completed. Redeployed.
In position.
Move completed.
In position.
So you can see the smoke launchers going off on my Sherman here. Smoke launchers just went off on the Stug. We've just got to get across the bridge. The Stug is probably better at this range than the Shermans are, but
In position.
it's going to be
Move completed.
Incoming.
multiple
In
vehicles.
position.
Move completed.
Jerry, take cover. In position. Jerry, take cover.
Redeployed.
In position.
Move completed.
Okay, so he's got a gun here. Yeah, Dave is actually playing really aggressive, which is kind of
Redeployed.
cool.
Jerry, take cover.
Area secured.
In position.
Move completed. Redeployed. Move completed.
In position. In position.
Move completed.
Ross just got a really lucky shot on a Stu.
Oh, did I kill your Stug?
You killed it, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't even tell me. Yeah, that is actually really lucky. But it also happened earlier than I wanted, because Dave is probably going to suffer a morale failure now,
Move completed.
and I want to get some more ground before that happens. So he's kind of... If I kill this pack, I'm probably going to just rout him.
Yeah, Ross has had an extremely lucky first turn here. He's survived a lot of AT hits, or there've been a lot of misses.
Is that pack dead? No, it's not.
Threat one. Redeployed.
Fuck.
Yeah. So Ross was able to morale rout me there by killing. Oh wow, he did so well that he actually got pretty far up the board. That was about as bad as it can go for the Germans on that board. Usually you can kill 2 or 3 tanks, and that was just kind of RNG. But he was able to escape with, I believe, no damage on any of his tanks.
Yeah, my
which
tanks
is
are
quite incredible.
Fine. I got the Victoria Cross on one of my gunners here, which is a little bit goofy.
Yeah, that was unexpected and also very bad for the Germans. However, this board will continue to be fought over for probably at least one more turn. At least we have
Right.
here, and then
Yeah.
we'll move on to Eindhoven City.
Yeah, I definitely picked up more victory locations than I was expecting to, but I really wanted to take this bridge before he routed because that would have given me one more victory location when the rout happened. Dave had kind of two options on this board with his AT. He could have either tried to put it in a refuse position, which would have had a better chance of inflicting casualties on me. But what Dave did was very shrewd. He basically played super far forward, which means that he was either going to do damage or not, but one way or the other he was going to rout, and this buys him more time on this board. This may not make a lot of sense because it's one of the things that's sort of more close combat than like historical, but we can move on to the next scenario. But I just wanted to kind of
Yeah. So usually that playing forward is not usually a good defensive tactic, but there are some situations where you do want to do that to stall the enemy player in the next turn.
Dave's original plan was to try to get I'm guessing, but I'm guessing you were trying to get your Stug forward because you wanted to get a mobility kill on my Sherman on that bridge.
I'll be honest, I've played this scenario against the AI, and I've in almost every time I've played it, killed at least 2 to 3 tanks with a forward deployment. It was an extremely improbable scenario that just happened, but
Yeah, the
that's
Stug
RNG
probably
for
should
you,
have taken
so.
one of those Shermans with, but you saw how much smoke was going off.
Usually
So
that Pack 40 will kill at least a few tanks coming up the road, but it missed everything, so
yeah, so
we're gonna move on to the
moving on
next.
to the best bridge. Historically, this bridge was not captured, and the game reflects that a little bit. I'm gonna hit next.
Hmm. So you can see what I have to start with. I'm gonna hit next.
Okay, yeah, give me a hot second here to.
So Ross will have a few options here that I will not. Most of the German battle groups that start were formed ad hoc, so these are basically just whatever they could scrounge up in the area. So that's kind of reflected as such, and you don't have any choices in what you start with. So that's what I have, and some of these will be in pre-deployed positions. So I'm hitting next, and
Yeah,
we'll
I will
wait for
too.
Ross to.
So I've got 4 minutes to take this bridge. And one of the things that Dave and I have playtested is that you actually cannot get to the bridge in 4 minutes. You can if you enter it from the Sown Bridge side of the board, which I did think about trying. I don't know. We'll play this at least somewhat historically here, because you know what, I actually regret not doing that now. Oh, Dave, should we restart? You want to
Regret not.
I regret.
Regret not what?
So my initial plan was to actually not attack Vagel Bridge, or sorry, not attack Best Bridge. But then when I take Sown, use the airborne group there to go take Best Bridge from the Sown entrance, and see if, because that does get you quite a bit closer. I still don't think I could do it in 4 minutes, though. I think the only way to do this in 4 minutes is if you do it from the Eindhoven entrance, and you can just drive over it with a tank. But I think by that point the bridge will just be ready to blow, right? So,
Yeah, we'll just stick with what we got for now, but
so there is one option that I do have that I think will be interesting. And it's not to just take, because I just trying to play this straight won't work. So I've got an option here that I've playtested a little bit, and it works sometimes. And I think it's the only way to take this bridge. Alright, I'm ready.
so Ross is going to try some kind of a sneaky breaky move here, most likely. And it's going to be our job not to let him. So
Dave, it's in Dave's best interest to blow every bridge on this board the instant he's eligible to. When we played this scenario with me as the Germans, I was like trying to be 12D chess, be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna keep the bridge intact. and then I'll be able to counterattack. It was just like, no, just fucking blow up the bridges. It's objectively correct. It's such a bad idea to not blow up the bridges.
All right, I believe I have deployed everything I'm eligible to deploy. So, with that,
Yeah, I'm ready.
let's begin.
There's some grognard at home watching what I'm doing and just like shaking his fist at the computer screen. Because how dare I? But I don't think this will work against a human player. I think this only works against the AI.
I actually deployed one unit in a position that was suboptimal, so that may work to your advantage.
Well, you tell me what you think I'm doing.
I don't know. I think you're probably just trying to sneak in a different direction or run kind of around the board.
Man, do I ever hate mortar teams. They're so fucking slow.
So Ross is trying to morale break me, I think. He may succeed, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do it in time. He's got 1 minute and 30 seconds left.
Ceasing fire.
Yeah, I don't think I have time. You've only got 30 seconds. I gotta get like a direct hit with a mortar. I should have moved this mortar team up further. Did I get it? Did I get it? You got one guy left. Gun is dead. GG, bud.
Truce it out.
Yeah, we can talk about a truce.
I'm just kidding.
Fuck. Yeah, that was the only way that was ever gonna work, was if I morale broke you. And I think if I'd
That was actually
moved,
clever.
yeah, I think if you kill the third gun, you actually do get it. But I would have needed to take that second mortar squad and spend the remaining time to move it up. So I think that could have worked. But yeah, so the best bridge is destroyed, which is unfortunate but not a critical failure, so long as we don't lose the Sown bridge, which is gonna be really bad if I lose it. So I'm gonna hit next.
I'm heading next.
Okay. So this is Dave's finest hour. This
Not
is
really.
well. This is probably the first really consequential battle of the campaign, where it actually could go either way. So I'm gonna hit next.
So you can see my defending forces. Yeah, Ross may have some choices here that I don't.
Yeah, I mean I've got an airborne battle group. It's full size and it's got all the things that come in an airborne battle group. This is going to be a pretty reckless assault, so I'm not going to be doing anything. I'm not going to be putting units like engineers in here because I don't want to risk those getting chewed up. And I'm going to be a little more cavalier with things like bazooka teams and shit. But yeah, snipers, just as a fun fact, anyone playing close combat, snipers cannot take victory locations. So just as it is relevant to your interests, that is a thing. So I'm going to take a company HQ here, which weirdly has a lower rank than my platoon HQ. We'll just take a third platoon HQ. If this doesn't do the trick, nothing will. So I'm ready to go. There's not a lot to choose from here. So I've got to get onto this flag
choices on this map
in 2 minutes. Yeah, this is a much harsher timer. I can do this pretty reliably against the AI, but trying to do this against, anyone else is, like against a human, is pretty rough.
So Ross is going to, his plan is going to be to Zerg rush this this bridge here, and he may also be trying to pick up a morale loss because if he kills my units fast enough, he's going to be possibly able to do that. But I need to be able to stop him somehow from picking that up.
The big question, and I actually purposefully did not look at this because I didn't want to feel like I was cheating. The big question is whether Dave has one machine gun to work with here or two machine guns to work with. Because if he has two machine guns to work with, this is so much harder. Because just machine guns in close combat, much like historical machine guns, will just absolutely just take a shit on an unlimited number of guys. Like, it's just you have no options to rush a machine gun. It will. The one thing I'm pretty sure Dave doesn't have is mortars, which if he did would be just that would just pretty much be game over. There wouldn't be any options I would have to really deal with that. So I've got some mortars of my own, but they are going to be unfortunately blind firing, which works about as well as one would expect. So So I'm kind of staggering my squads here because I'm anticipating some degree of having to basically, yeah. This is one of those things where RNG can be really, really devastating. So the question is, where does Dave want to put those? Where does Dave want to put those machine guns, right? He's got like a couple options that make sense, so I need to kind of try to smoke off all of those options while also, simultaneously, recognizing that I only have, however much smoke ammo. So, all right. I mean, I'm as ready as I'm going to be, Dave. So.
All right, well, let us go. You have a 2-minute timer. And
Hopefully this isn't stupid. I'll see
yeah,
it.
hopefully this isn't stupid.
Move faster. Why aren't my mortars firing, Dave? Oh my god.
Take cover! Enemy spotted. That's suicide! Team redeployed. That's suicide! That's suicide! Hit the dirt! Take cover!
Dave might pull this off. Yep, he put the machine gun where I was afraid he'd put it. The one place where I really can't do anything to stop it. Oh, this is over. Dave has it. Fuck. Can we start the
Sorry.
campaign over?
No. You almost routed me on 2 boards. I'm not going to. Did you see where I put my Zug troop? Oh, it's right next to your guys there.
Yeah, no, that was the way you needed to play that, Dave. That was brutal.
No, actually, that was an ersatz, but I put a Zug troop dug in on the side of the bridge. But my morale was dropping so fast, I was like, oh, I gotta.
Yeah,
go
I'm trying.
bridge.
I should have probably seen your machine gun and tried to smoke it off earlier, because that actually was what killed the one squad that had a chance of getting there. But yeah, poorly played by me. I could have saved that actually. So
I don't know. That's a that's a hard one to win. I don't think you're meant to win. So
yeah, that one
had-
Erzat squad you put in that building though, that was what did it for you. That saved your ass. That was great.
yeah, I think that's really the only thing I could have done to slow you down because it pinned down a few guys that were fast moving.
Yeah. The thing about these early scenarios is so much of it is us like basically close combating each other rather than actually like playing historical war game. But I did the same shit to Dave. So, all right, let's hit next.
So do you mind if we save it real quick and then I gotta make a phone call and then
How long
don't know
of
if
a
I wanna
phone
kill
call
the
do you
stream.
think?
maybe 15-20 minutes.